So now with that out of the way, as our intro said, this month is Amy Winehouse, and the albums are Frank versus Back to Black. Rob, it was your choice this episode, so why these albums?
That's right. Well, so I'll do a little synopsis on Amy Winehouse, but one of the things that occurred to me, obviously, we're going around genres as much as possible. We've done a couple of rock, we've done some rap, but Amy Winehouse was a British artist. She was doing something a bit different, very much outside my own comfort zone. I've been aware of her for years and of a particular song that we'll be covering during this. But I just thought it was time to maybe dip into something that was not so familiar to me. How about you guys, Stuart? Any recollections of Amy Winehouse?
Amy Winehouse,
or even Amy Winehouse? Yeah. What does she mean? Anything to you? Do you have any recollections in particular?
The singles. I remember seeing her first when she was on Jules Holland, and I think it was on the Back to Black album, because that's the second album, isn't it? Back to Black. And I think there was a big push of that because she was Mark Ronson at the time was quite big, and they were pushing all that. So so that was my first introduction. It was actually New Year's Eve. It was in a I can remember now. It was we were in a cottage somewhere. Oh, where was it now? I can't remember where it was. So it was a group of us who used to all get a cottage together New Year's Eve, like about 12 of us, down there. And obviously it's always tradition. You always watch Jules Holland at New Year's Eve. Everybody has to watch it. It's the law, isn't it? I think that's what I pay my license fee for. Anyway, so and I remember like Amy Winehouse was one of the, and it was absolutely brilliant. So, but it was the classic. I'm probably gonna have to say, and it will probably know how to say it, no, and we'll leave it now because it will be overused. But
I doubt it.
No, that was my tradition, and really, really good singer. But I only aware before this challenge or task what we've taken upon ourselves of the singles. I didn't know really any of the other songs, so it's
you say you were aware of the singles, but as we're going to find out, there were a lot of them, and you probably don't know them all. So there we go.
There were a lot of them. Yeah.
Cath, any recollections?
So she's not really the sort of musician that I would listen to. So I only really knew of all the sort of the shenanigans she got up to that were in the newspaper, and I know some of her songs because they were on the radio and you couldn't really escape from hearing them. But it's been quite interesting because I've listened to a lot of stuff that I hadn't heard before and have sort of changed my opinion slightly in that I have an opinion of her musical stuff now.
Okay.
So it's been good.
Cool. And Si?
Yeah, it's a bit like you guys. I knew of Amy Winehouse. I probably knew more of her headlines than of her music, apart from like the big ones. Obviously like the Back to Black and the Rehab. But yeah, that's pretty much changed now. I mean, Amy Winehouse, now going back and looking at this, she really paved the way for British soul and its popularity. And if we didn't have Amy Winehouse and these two albums that we're talking about today, I don't think we would have seen a Duffy or an Estelle or possibly even an Adele.
Well, I was going to...
Yeah, who's Estelle? Who's this mysterious singer?
She's not as well-known British soul as the others, but she's definitely there, and she was on that same path. And I think Amy paved that way. And Amy wasn't an artist that I would listen to. I wouldn't put her on a playlist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But one of these albums, after listening to it so much, I can put on and not listen to, and that is a huge compliment in my mind. It's like I can put the album on, do other things, and it's in the background. I know where the tracks are going, I know where the albums are going, I know what to expect. And that's really what I look for in music, is music that I don't listen to.
Yeah.
And it's there, it's just subconsciously there. And I think one of these albums as a whole, which we're not talking about really as such, is one of those albums that you can put on a Sunday afternoon, sit back with a drink or a coffee and just chill.
Fair enough. Nice. Yeah. So, let's have a little. Let's go back through a little bit about her for those that don't know anything about her. So she was a solo singer with a very distinctive voice, which was all the more impressive because she was only about 5'2" inches tall, with tiny pocket rocket. She was. She's well known for sort of putting raw emotion and somewhat brutally honest and personal lyrics into her songs, which, as we might come to later, is a bit of a double-edged sword. She was well known for blending soul, jazz, and R&B, as well as a few flashes of ska and reggae. And she was massively into the sort of girl groups of the 60s, even to sort of emanate, sort of copying the visual style as well. I think it was one of the Ronettes, the rather brilliantly named Ronnie Spector, who thought that she was looking at a photo of herself when shown a photo of Amy Winehouse with her sort of famous beehive hairstyle until she put her glasses on and realised it wasn't her. Song lyrics, it's a journey through the depths of love, heartbreak, addiction, the complexities of human emotions. But one thing that struck me is that, slightly unlike most pop singers, a lot of her stuff seemed a bit darker at times, which sort of gave it a bit more gravitas. I don't know if we'll agree on that later on. She released only 2 albums, Frank in 2003, the title of which was a bit of a double meaning in that it meant referred to her nature and the tone of the lyrics being frank, as well as apparently one of her influences, which was Frank Sinatra. And she released that at the age of only 20. And then the second album was Back to Black, of course, which was released in 2006, predominantly based on her relationship with her then boyfriend and husband-to-be. And during one of their breakups, it led her to create this second album, exploring themes of guilt, grief, infidelity, heartbreak, and trauma. Well, happy stuff. The second album, I did have a stat on this, but I lost it. It won something like 23 awards from something like 60 nominations. So it absolutely massively blew up for her at the age of 23. There was a third album, which was rumoured to have been in the pipeline. And I believe she was learning to play drums for that. And it was supposed to be a progression from the kind of jukebox songs of the second album. But having heard some of the extra tracks on the second album, I wonder if she might have put a bit more ska and reggae in there, because she was getting quite into that.
Very much the same thing. It's like if you listen to the deluxe version of Frank, you can almost see where Back to Black was going to go.
Exactly.
I was wondering exactly the same thing.
She also played guitar, didn't she? And I think there's a lot of people didn't realise that she's
a
really good guitarist. I mean, a lot of the tracks she played her own. I mean, the acoustic guitar and most of the tracks she played on those as well.
Okay.
So she was.
I did not know that.
There you go. It's fact after fact tonight, Cath.
Isn't it just?
So sadly, that third album never came to pass because she passed away in 2011 at the age of 27. So I just felt that her potential was never realised. She was herself quoted as saying that she didn't really want to have a long career, felt she had maybe 2 or 3 more albums in her, but we never got them, apart from, demos and unreleased songs that we've got posthumously. So we don't know where she might have ended up. I actually bumped into her once outside HMV in Oxford Circus.
Did you indeed?
Way back in the day. And I remember she was talking into her mobile phone, and I can only describe her as straight talking to the person on the other end, a very loud voice, which really made me chuckle. Yeah. So that made me chuckle, and I gave her a smile and she gave me a smile back. And then I went on tour with her, and we bought a saxophone together. And sorry, that was the other notes. Sorry. So that's Amy Winehouse in a nutshell. We got